Everyone thinks that teens in our world today use alcohol, tobacco, or drugs to cope with everyday struggles. You may think they do,
but they don't. Welcome to the But They Don't podcast, a podcast for teens by teens. Join us as we cover substance use prevention, mental health, community conversations, and more.
Welcome back to another episode of the But They Don't podcast. My name is Alyssa, and today we are joined by a new youth board member and podcast host, Sasha.
Hi, I'm so excited to be a part of this year. Did you know that a recent statistic said nearly 20% of high school students have been offered, sold, or given drugs on school property in the past year?
That's crazy. That's why today's topic can be super important. Today we're talking about transitioning from middle school to high school. Rising freshmen, this one's for you.
School starts back here in Pickens County in less than 3 weeks, so we're here to provide you with some tips to starting high school.
3 weeks is not very long, but I think something that I actually had a really good time with my transition from middle to high school. I think a lot of the middle school teachers and even, honestly, I think even some parents, they were just like, oh, high school's so scary. I'm like, then I actually got there. I'm like, this is not bad at all. Like, what were they talking about?
I completely agree. Like, I was nervous that first week of getting lost and all that, but like once you get past it, it's so easy.
Yeah, I think literally my first day there, I had like a map of the school and like mapped out all my classes just so that I wouldn't get lost.
I think I did something very similar, and like we all had classes together. It was...
Yeah. It wasn't bad though. I really enjoyed getting to have more freedom, and I could like kind of mingle with people, and like I was able to hang out. Like some of my best friends I met like on the first day of school in some random class that I knew nobody in. And so that was really cool that I still am able to have those friendships. And even actually I'm still friends with a lot of people from middle school and stuff too. And I think a big part of that is because I had a really good group of friends, and so like they weren't just gonna like ghost me when we got to high school.
Absolutely. And like our first day, I remember walking into a class of all juniors and seniors and being horrified, and then meeting some of my best friends.
Right. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. I think it was weird for me because it is extremely different. I feel like in middle school it's like, I don't want to say they're holding your hand all the time, but I feel like they're like, you have teachers there and people there like all the time, when like you're in the cafeteria, in a high school cafeteria, and there's like so much freedom, so much going on, so much chaos. And yeah, but I think actually that was the high school cafeteria was the first time that like I ever like heard people like talking about drugs in a public area at school.
Yes, and getting like people being like, oh yeah, there's vapes in the bathroom, do you want one? It's terrifying.
Or like, actually, I think it was my first week of school. I was in the bathroom and this girl walked in and she was like, hey, you got a vape? I was like, no.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it is really crazy with those type of things because you are having to learn how to transition. And like I said, there's more freedom. And I think with that freedom comes stuff like that. And so that's when you have to kind of like learn your integrity and stuff like that. How are you going to handle those things, and how are you going to pick your friends regarding those things too?
Yeah, and being able to find that group that you can hold on to in all moments in that first year of high school especially. It's all that really matters.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think one of my favorite things about starting high school was I feel like I was able to get more involved in my school so much easier than I was like in middle school, because there's so many more opportunities to get involved. And actually, for anyone listening, I really encourage you to get involved in your school. That's a great we talk about our natural high on here. I don't know if you knew that, Sasha, but yeah, we talk about our natural high and how we use some things like at our school and stuff instead of like doing drugs or going out and partying and stuff. And I think that's some of my natural highs are like doing stuff in my school. And so yeah,
me too. And not being afraid to join things, that's like a major thing. I remember being a freshman and like refusing to join groups because I was so scared. You just can't do that. Just join, have fun.
Yeah, and that's actually a really great opportunity to make friends and stuff too. I met a lot of people who had just moved from some places to where I'm at, and they're able to get involved and meet more people by getting involved in the school
and enjoying what you're doing while you're there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely find something you like doing. I think most of I would say like all of the high schools in Pickens County, I feel like we all have a lot of things to offer. And so, I mean, there's got to be something that you'll enjoy doing, something that you can enjoy doing. And that's not really a part of the school, but it's part of the county is youth board. But yeah, I think it's really cool. So I think some important things that you need to have whenever you're making that transition is a set routine. What was your set routine like whenever you transitioned?
I would wake up at like 5:30 in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
Every morning.
5:30?
Yeah.
No, I don't even wake up at like 7:30. I think like I literally was waking up at like the very last minute.
Yeah, and I have younger siblings, so we would have to wake up earlier to get them to those schools too.
Yeah.
And so like 5:30, and I just wanted to, especially that first month, I feel like I was just so nervous to walk into school late.
Okay. So for anyone that knows me and any of our youth board people know that I am late quite often. I was actually late for this podcast today. Our producer's over here laughing at me because he knows it's true. But being late was not really my biggest concern. I was worried. Actually, I was more worried about being the very first person there. I was like, I do not want to be the very first person there and have to just sit there and like everyone sees me as soon as they walk in. But yeah, I never actually had that problem.
Well, at our school, what we do is we have to stand outside or sit in the cafeteria until the bell rings. So
yeah,
it was
I think
like
that's how ours is too. I think it's been like a total of like maybe 2 times out of all the years I've been there that I have made it that early.
Yeah, I used to all the time.
Yeah. I think even like just a set routine with like your daily schedule. I mean, you have like your schedule daily. I don't think any of the schools do like 8AB days anymore. I think it's all like you have the same classes every day for a whole semester. And so sticking with that and that schedule also kind of, which I like that schedule a lot because you're not switching back and forth. I think that's a solid schedule. And even just like what you're doing after school, making that a routine so that you're not like going after school and getting high or something like that.
Or stressing out about the next day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think that one's kind of a hard one to avoid, but like that's because I feel like even then you still don't really know what's coming, but you have an idea with a set routine. Yeah. Yeah. Something that I have really struggled with, like actually my entire life, is procrastination. I'm such a procrastinator and it's really bad, but I have learned how to I've learned that if you do things now, then you don't have to worry about them the night before.
Yeah, and in middle school, I feel like you can procrastinate and get away with it, but a lot of teachers in high school just will not let you.
No, definitely not. Actually, I was procrastinating like the last week of school because I was like, it was like at that point where I was just like, I'm so done. I do not like, we're almost done. What's the point? And which is a bad mindset to have. But I was procrastinating on like all of my assignments. But then I finished them. I was like, dude, if I would have got these done like when they first gave them out instead of waiting for the night before, like I could have just been chilling at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like we said before, like I feel like I'll be a senior this year at my high school. And so even now I have good relationships with friends that I've had since middle school. Like it's not like your relationships just like shatter. I feel like with transitioning from like elementary to middle school, you're like joining in with all these other schools. So there's so many more people to be friends with. And so like you do lose some of the connections with that, but it's not like that when you're transitioning from middle to high school.
And I feel like it's so important to keep your middle school friends too. Like you're going to lose and grow with each other, but keeping those friends is so important to keep yourself like knowing where you're at and keeping yourself stable.
Right. And I feel like I've grown up with some of these people, and so like it's cool to be able to go through that transition and all these other things with them too. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just as important to make friends as it is to stay in contact.
For sure. That was actually, I'm like really weird and I actually love making new friends. I feel like a lot of people stress out about that, but that's one of my favorite things to do is just like meeting new people. And so that was something that I really enjoyed in high school, is the fact that I can still have these other relationships that I've had for so long, but still make new friends at the same time.
I agree. And like I said when I was talking about earlier, walking into a class and you know no one, and there may be all kinds of different grades, you know, being able to make those friends and be open to it is so important.
Yeah. I agree. So how organized were you when transitioning from middle to high school?
I was a mess. I was so
Yeah.
chaotic. I had things everywhere. I never knew what I was doing or where I was going.
Yeah. So I was really, really organized whenever I transitioned from middle to high school. Like I said, I literally had a whole map mapped out about where I was going for each class so I wouldn't get lost. I like had like everything organized in my book bag, like everything color coded, like absolutely neat freak. Like,
I thought I had memorized the high school map, but it turned out it was another one in
oh
the
my
school
goodness.
district. And
The wrong school?
Mhm.
That's awful. So like you were like taking turns and
yeah, and my
It was
school
the
only
wrong
has
school.
6 major hallways.
Okay.
So I was sitting here thinking that we had like 12 and was 2 stories because I had never really been to the high school other
Right.
than for athletics.
mm-hmm.
And I was panicked when I got in there.
Yeah. I thankfully, because my brother had went to the same high school, I kind of knew my way around in some areas, but I definitely did not know everything. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think we mentioned this before, but definitely as you are starting school, getting involved is so important, and finding new things, like just finding things that you really like. My first year, I joined like the video and editing production class and stuff, and I actually ended up like absolutely loving it. And I do a lot of video stuff for a lot of different things now, and like and so we did all of it for our sports and all that stuff. So it's really cool, and one of those things that I'm really glad I like tried new because I ended up really liking it.
Yeah, and I cannot think of a single thing I joined my freshman year because I was so terrified.
Hey, that's okay. Another really fun thing, like I said before, youth board.
I wish I had joined it sooner.
Yes, so I actually joined my freshman year, and that it's been so much fun. Like it's really, really cool. Made a lot of friends, and it's really cool because you were able to like make friends. Like I literally have never met you before today, but
No.
like you're able to make friends from other schools that you like wouldn't usually see, you know?
I agree. And like even reaching out in your career center
Oh, yeah.
and stuff like that, you can
Definitely.
find all kinds of people.
So what do you think about setting goals?
I love setting goals.
You
That's like
love
my
setting
favorite
goals.
thing to do.
Is
Yeah.
it? Wow.
My goal is having 10 chords at graduation, and I have 9.
That's a lot. Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty impressive. That's actually really impressive. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what some goals were that I set my freshman year. Actually, I think like one of the main ones was just like meeting new people. Cause I mean, I don't want to say I was sick of the same old people that I was talking to, but like I really enjoy like new people. And so that was probably my main goal that I had set. Well, that and like don't do drugs, but you know. So I think just setting goals that you aren't too comfortable with. You want to set goals that like you're actually having to work hard at.
Yeah, and I agree. And one of my other goals was like graduating early, which I knew as a freshman I couldn't do. Like you can't graduate as a freshman, obviously, but creating that goal and that standard for yourself really helped me.
Right. So I think something that I did not do as a freshman that I wish I would have done is like thinking about the future.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess probably my sophomore year, I probably did start thinking about the future, but like transitioning from middle to high school, I was not focused on that at all.
I agree. And as a freshman, I had no clue like what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, and I skipped my junior year.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started thinking about colleges.
Right.
So
Right.
I wish I had done that a lot
Yeah.
earlier.
I mean, now I kind of have an idea of where I want to be, but like it would have been cool if I would have started thinking about it then, because I feel like I would have been so prepared now for what that would have looked like. Like I never even like researched colleges or careers or anything until later on. So I think start thinking about the future. It's a real like you don't have to have a whole plan set out by your freshman year is finished, but it's good to start thinking about it at that point.
I agree.
One thing that I actually really think is really fun, I love like self-care, practicing self-care, which can be hard at times, I think, because we get so caught up in other things and you get really like busy, and it's just kind of hard to just take a second and step back.
I agree. And I'm the world's worst about thinking about how I feel about things and over stressing about school.
Absolutely.
And I recently was like, why am I stressing so much? Like I need to care about how I feel mentally and where I'm at. And I wish I had done that sooner.
Right. And I think that there's two things that I think of, like, when coming back to that is, one, like, the friends that you have and the friends that you're surrounding yourself with. And two is, what are you doing to unwind, you know? I mean, I feel like I feel like I need to talk about, like, drugs and stuff. Like, I feel like if you're using that to unwind in those situations, which I found, like, it was actually crazy to me how many of my friends went from, like, not using drugs or alcohol to actually doing that whenever transitioning from middle to high school.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that goes into the peer pressure that you feel when you go into high school and seeing all these people who are doing it, and you're like, oh, I just want to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. And so I think practicing self-care, finding, and like we talked about the natural high, when practicing self-care, I think that's really important, is to find that natural high, something that you enjoy doing, but also knowing that it's okay to just take a break sometimes, and that, like, don't overstress yourself on schoolwork. Obviously stay on top of it, but don't procrastinate. And just, it's okay to just take a breather at some point.
And you can't hang out with your friends after every day at school. You need a moment to yourself, which I've seen a lot of people who won't say no. Like, people go, oh, you want to go to lunch? And no, go chill, go take your time.
I did that until I started running out of money. I started realizing how broke I actually was.
Me too.
But yeah, I definitely agree with that. You definitely need that time alone and just taking a nap, man. I love taking naps. That's my way of unwinding. It's just taking a second to just sit there, and sometimes I fall asleep. But yeah, I think that's really good. Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope that everyone has a great start to the new school year, wherever you may be, like, starting back, or whenever you may be starting back. We're gearing up for some really good podcast episodes and new series soon, so be sure to check back every Friday at 7 a.m. for a new release.
And if you're a local to Pickens County area, we are hosting the Souped Up and Sober Car Show fundraiser on August 12th in the back parking lot of the Burning Brick in Pickens. Interested in bringing your car out? You can register at ybccarshow.eventbrite.com. Cost is $25, and trophies will be awarded in multiple categories.
And we will definitely put all that in our description as well. If you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us on @WeArePCYB on Instagram and TikTok, and @Pickens County Youth Board on Facebook. Thanks, guys.